What's up, guys? Welcome back to Newswave. Well, it turns out, if you've been having a hard time finding a PlayStation 5, all you have to do is wait another year or so until the PlayStation 5 Pro releases. At least, that's according to TCL, after they show up to a conference with a very interesting slide, and we're going to talk about that one here today. Also, we are going to be talking about that PlayStation Plus premium service once again, specifically the classic library, as it looks like another title may have leaked a bit early. And we're also going to be talking about a massive sale that is currently going on for the PlayStation 4 and 5. Guys, if you enjoy these videos, make sure you hit that like button, helps out a ton. And if you're new here to the Spawnwave channel, make sure you subscribe down below and ring that notification bell so you can keep up to date with all of the uploads here on the channel. And I wanted to start today with an update to a story we talked about yesterday with that PlayStation Plus premium pricing, specifically if you had a discount on your subscription service and it appeared that Sony was asking for the money back to upgrade. Well, we can see this tweet here. This posted up by Ask PlayStation saying, due to a technical error, players in Asia who have previously purchased a PlayStation Plus membership at a discount have been incorrectly charged for their upgrade pricing. This error has been fixed and impacted players will receive a credit. We thank you for your patience. Some people are trying to figure out if this was indeed an error on their part or if they were just trying to see if they could get away with one here. I do think, just based on how quickly they changed this up, that it was an error on their part. But still, I'm sure the feedback that was very swift online from a lot of customers probably expedited this fix for everyone. So at least it was figured out quickly here. And again, the rollout is staggered across the world right now in order, I'm sure, for them to get everything smoothed out as they launch it in other parts of the world here coming up in the month of June. Also, one of the games that really caught my eye from last E3 at Microsoft Showcase was Replaced. I think the art style of it is really what caught me, specifically like the pixel look with the retro but modern style, kind of like what we have with HD2D, but I really like the camera angle. Like some of the trailer you can see shows that sweeping shot of the foreground versus the characters. The animation is really cool. It was slated to be coming out this year. Unfortunately, though, it does look to be getting delayed into 2023. They released this message over on Twitter saying, today we're making the very difficult decision to delay Replaced until 2023. The Belarusian-based studio working on the game, Sad Cat Studios, has a team of talented developers from Belarus and Ukraine. Unfortunately, the continued war in Ukraine has heavily impacted the development of Replaced, as most of the team resides in the neighboring regions. The priority for Sad Cat was for the safety of the team and their families. As a result, a part of the team has now relocated and work has only recently restarted on Replaced. Publisher CoatSync, parent company Thunderful, and developer Sad Cat Studios have decided to move the release to 2023 to ensure that the game is in the best state it can possibly be. We're continuing to work hard to match the quality you've come to expect from the trailer, but are prioritizing both the physical and mental health of the developers by not forcing the original deadlines that have been unexpectedly impacted. I mean, this is obviously understandable here. Everything going on right now, that situation between Ukraine and Russia, has affected other games. And I mean, if that's the case, then yeah, it has to be delayed. There are a lot of real world things going on that are more important. So we'll just look to 2023 when Replaced does eventually release. Oh, and do you remember when Eiyuden Chronicle was originally revealed with the Kickstarter, and they had mentioned that they would look into Nintendo's next-gen platform whenever that comes out, the Switch 2, in order to move the game there? Well, it turns out they had a chance to look into the current Switch, and they are moving forward with that platform, which is good news for all Switch owners who are looking into this game. We can see this post up over on their Kickstarter saying Eiyuden Chronicle 100 Heroes is coming to Nintendo Switch. That's right, given recent speculation over the Nintendo Switch and potential next generation Nintendo iterations, we wanted to play it safe and investigate what options we had before fully committing to a Nintendo Switch version. But now, the wait is over, and we're delighted to confirm that Eiyuden Chronicle 100 Heroes will also be landing on Nintendo Switch. Obviously, again, good news here. Maybe they thought we would have heard something about a revision or a next-generation Switch by now, but, I mean, at this point, you might as well see if you can fit it on the current Switch. There's over 100 million people who have one of those systems, so obviously a very large install base that you would be missing out on otherwise. But good to hear that they will be having Eiyuden Chronicle on the Switch. It is still slated to be coming out in 2023. And guys, with some of the quick news out of the way, let's get into the bigger stuff. Let's start right away with the PlayStation 5 Pro. I made a joke a while ago when the PlayStation 5 was being revealed and all this. When do we get to talk about the PlayStation 5 Pro? Well, since then, there have actually been a lot of rumors around a mid-gen refresh. Seriously, kind of like with the Switch Pro, where once the Switch was being revealed, everyone was asking about this rumored other system that was in development. Well, now we have maybe a more legitimate source referencing a newer PlayStation 5 system, that being TCL. Now, this, of course, being a company that manufactures a lot of the TVs that seem to line up pretty well with gaming. Like, a lot of people will pick up some of these TCL HD TVs because they have lower refresh rates and they are more aligned with kind of the budget-oriented side of things with TVs for 4K and all of this. But we can see this posted up over on Twitter. Tom Henderson says in a news conference, TCL Technology has said that a new Xbox Series S and X and PS5 Pro are coming in 2023/2024, which if you look left to right, they have Gen 8, 8.5, 9, 9.5, with in 2013, Xbox One and PS4, and some of the resolution and frame rates that were being targeted at that time. They do have 2017 having the PS4 Pro in there, however, the PS4 Pro came out a year prior in 2016, so there was indeed a 3-year gap from when the initial PS4 released to the PS4 Pro, and then we see 3 years later with the Series S, X, and PS5. And then moving up to 2023 or 2024, new Xbox Series, I guess they couldn't figure out what to name it. They clearly didn't have the courage to name it the Xbox Series E. And then we have the PS5 Pro. And it looks like they are at least referencing an 8K output at 60 to 120 frames. And I think 4K would be the big target here to finally conquer for these newer mid-gen refresh systems. But obviously I know 8K would be something that can be marketed heavily, although we already technically have some 8K games. I know The Tourist is like internal resolution at 8K on the PlayStation 5, so we've already kind of been there, but it's not mainstream at all. There are a lot of TVs that obviously are pushing 8K currently, but there's just not a lot of content right now that takes advantage of it. And even 4K, while we have like Blu-rays and streaming and all this that has moved to it, there's still, I'm sure, a lot of people who go, I mean, I got a 4K set because that's all that was really available. I don't necessarily take advantage of it because I watch like cable TV or something on there that has lagged behind quite a bit. Don't get me started on Comcast. But the real question comes down to, does TCL actually have knowledge that there is a PlayStation 5 Pro or an Xbox Series E on the way in 2023 and 2024? The answer to that is probably not, no. I mean, sure, TCL would be looking around at the clear trend or the pattern that we have from the previous generation and even leading into the new generation with the mid-gen refreshes being about 3 years cycles. So they're like, oh wow, 2023, 2024 could see that 8K PS5 Pro. But there are a lot of things that could be messing that time period up now, especially with the chip shortage. I mean, think about it. We probably won't have the full shift to this now current gen until 2023 with things like Starfield and Redfall that were Xbox Series games from Microsoft's first party being pushed to there. And then also we have God of War coming up that's cross-gen. And I don't think it's going to be until next year that we even see Sony fully embrace the PS5 as it is now. So does it really make sense that by the time we have both manufacturers catch up to it, that we would then be talking about the PS5 Pro and the next Xbox Series? I don't think so. Like I said, I believe this generation is going to go a bit longer than people are expecting, and those mid-gen refreshes will probably be tapped when needed. But I don't think it's going to be in 2023. I also don't think it's in 2024. I'm thinking 2025 or 2026 because I believe this is going to be about a 10-year generation, mostly because there's a lot of lost time here to get things started. I will point out a strong possibility though when it comes to a revision of some kind, as Jeff Grubb calls it here as well. PS5 is going to get a 6nm refresh soon, better yields, and could use even less cooling. All of those gains will go into improving manufacturing and saving costs. Maybe a hardware redesign is part of that, but I don't think there's any chance of a Pro anytime soon. I agree. I believe, if anything, we would see a PlayStation 5 Slim model. I mean, think about it. They can revamp the current one, make it smaller, maybe more appealing to people who see how large the PlayStation 5 is currently. They are able to shrink down the the heat sink that they need and the amount of copper and all of this. And yeah, make it so it's more efficient, easier to manufacture. overall. That's probably the direction I would see them going in, just so they can work to navigate this chip shortage until it's resolved. And then they'll probably start thinking, okay, how do we get to an 8K PlayStation 5 Pro? Next up, let's talk about another one of those PlayStation Classic titles for the PlayStation Plus Premium tier that appears to have leaked out a bit early. We can see this over on Twitter from a user with a screenshot showing, oh, it's the girl from Exo Prime. Wow, I guess they're throwing that into the Classics collection for some reason. Figure they would have thrown that into just the overall extra and premium tier there as a day one release. Now, I know this is clearly referencing Dino Crisis, but I want you to think about this for a second. More people are going to know, especially with the newer generation, that character from Exo Primal than they will from Dino Crisis. So that should make everyone sad. But the cool thing about this is we can then assume that Capcom would be interested in taking part in this Classics program, which makes me very hopeful that we would see things like some of the Mega Man X games get thrown in there for the PS1, or maybe even like Legends or Legends 2. But then you look at like their wealth of fighting games. The only unfortunate thing with that is a lot of them are tied into like Marvel or X-Men or all of those, and they're very, very good, but there probably have to be talks with Disney involved as well. However, they do have things like Rival Schools. I mean, that'd be kind of cool to throw in there. They could even grab an RPG like Breath of Fire 3. And I guess if we do want some fighting games in here from Capcom, they do have the Street Fighter series like Street Fighter Alpha 3 that they can drop in. Basically, there are several titles that Capcom could be putting in this service. So it's nice to see that the possibility of Dino Crisis 1 and 2 could be first up, but then lead to some of their other games in the future. Next up, let's talk about the PlayStation Days of Play sale that is currently ongoing. It actually started yesterday, and it's going to run until June 8th. And it looks like there are currently hundreds of games on sale. I also noticed that Amazon has some of these on sale physically, although I don't know if that was a deal of the day yesterday, but I'll still have a link down in the sources to the page that they had up for those PlayStation games, just in case you want to check out, see if you can grab one of those on disc. Let's take a look though at the list of games here. Like I said, with hundreds of different titles, I picked a few out here. Some of the big headlining ones include Lego Star Wars Skywalker Saga, down to $48. That is a game that will take you quite a while to play through, and it is probably one of the best Lego games that's ever been released. Certainly one worth checking out there. Dying Light 2 at $48. I did enjoy my time with Dying Light 2. I think Dying Light 1, like I said, was a bit better, but it's still a fun experience. Ghostwire Tokyo is half off at $30. I think it's a good time to pick that one up. Again, I enjoyed my time there with that. Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart at $40. You're noticing we're seeing a lot of these PlayStation 5 games on sale, so good to see. Deathloop, another one, at $24. Batman Arkham Collection. I like to point out some of these collections when they're on sale because this would be the Arkham series. So we'd have Arkham Asylum, Arkham City, and Arkham Knight as part of this collection at $12, so a good deal there. Borderlands 3 at $15. The Uncharted Legacy of Thieves collection is down to $30, so if you waited on that, good time to pick it up. Sackboy at $30. Prey, I threw that one in there because it's definitely one that goes under the radar, but I mean, $7.50. A good one to pick up there. Neo, The World Ends With You at $30, and A Plague Tale Innocence at $10. So overall, a lot to go through here, and it's nice to see some of these big first-party PlayStation 5 games on sale. Like I said, make sure you check out Amazon as well if you're a physical collector, because a lot of them were mirroring some of these deals just as ones you can order and have delivered. But either way, a lot of PlayStation games to go through, especially if you've been holding out for some of these sales. Now's a good time to pick them up. And in our last bit of news, let's talk about that Marvel MMO game that was confirmed a little while ago to be going into development. And this was going to be done by the creators of DCU Online. And it was just kind of shown off during an investor's briefing with the slides and all of this, saying that they had secured a Marvel IP that they were going to develop into a large MMO experience. Well, now it looks like it's been canceled. Yeah, take a look at this. This was posted up by PC Games, saying the Marvel MMO game that was confirmed last year but was never officially announced is now canceled. The Marvel Comics MMORPG was in development at Dimension Inc. and Daybreak Games, team behind fellow online superhero game DC Universe Online, but is now discontinuing it to focus on alternative projects. So essentially what appears to have happened is they looked at how much it was going to cost, which according to some of the documents, roughly $50 million. And they decided, you know what? let's actually spread this money around, look into, as they say, new game opportunities with our first party original intellectual properties, and maybe take some smaller chances on several titles rather than try to go all in on this Marvel MMO that, I mean, when you start licensing several characters that would go into it, would probably get pretty expensive. It was also mentioned that as they were going through mapping out the development pre and post launch, that they weren't very excited or confident in it, and it does make me wonder if what was planned out just happened to be very, very close to DC Universe Online, and they didn't necessarily want that, especially with how expensive, like I said, it would be to do all of this with Marvel. We've heard that things like the Avengers with Crystal Dynamics ended up costing Square a ton of money, even though it's sold well enough. They still lost like $100 some odd million on that property, and yeah, a lot of that was probably licensing back and forth with Marvel. And I'll admit, I am kind of disappointed to hear this, because when DCUO first started up, it was pretty exciting, and sure, it kind of tapered off after a little while, but them being able to start up fresh with a game under the Marvel umbrella could have been pretty interesting to see what they would have come up with here, brand new in development. But there we have it. That Marvel MMO that was announced just months ago is now canceled. And before we go to the comment of the day, we're gonna take a look at the poll that I posted up yesterday. We're asked, when do you think a PS5 Pro or Xbox Series refresh is coming? 7% say 2023, 28% say 2024, hey, the majority say 2025, and then 9% say 2026, with 21% saying there won't be a Pro system this generation. Very interesting. I do believe the majority at 2025 probably has it correct, but I wouldn't be shocked if we go into 2026 asking if there's going to be a PS5 Pro or a new Xbox Series system, because, like I said, out of the gate, I feel like we've been delayed a good 2 years for fully embracing the PlayStation 5 and the Xbox Series systems. And we'll finish up with the comment of the day, as you're seeing here. This is from Link saying, if Sly Cooper 5 does exist, it would be cool if the older games were added to PS Plus Premium along with the announcement. Doesn't seem like something Sony would ever even consider doing, but maybe we can hope. I mean, I feel like Sony understands that PlayStation Plus Premium can be used as a marketing tool. Like, you announce Sly Cooper 5, and then, oh yeah, several of the PS2 Sly Cooper games will be heading to the service over the next couple of months. There'll be the whole PS4 remaster thing, trophies, better visuals, all of that. It's a good way to get people hyped up for the newest one. It's also, I think, a way for them to maybe test the waters with some older intellectual properties, whether it's from the PS1 era or the PS2. There are ways they can leverage this service to benefit them with newer titles as well. The question is, will they actually do it? And ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it here for Newswave. If you enjoyed this video, guys, hit that like button. If not, hit the dislike. Leave comments down below about everything we talked about here today, whether it's TCL seemingly leaking the PS5 Pro or the next Xbox Series system for 2023 or 2024. Do you think they have any inside knowledge to that, or are they just taking their best guess? Let me know about that. And then also, what about the PlayStation Days of Play sale? Make sure you leave some recommendations down below for what people should be looking into. Thanks, guys, for watching, and I'll see you next time.